where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little away. 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
As far as racing history goes, Sebring International Raceway is more or less associated with sports cars. But that doesn't mean that these fast, bumpy, turned circuit can't play host to the drivers of these old school Formula One cars, and they are here to put on a show for us tonight. Hello everyone and welcome to sunny Sebring, Florida, where we're getting set to watch round 2 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship live on the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is the driver who placed third at the 1996 Indy 500, Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes we have our director Joe Peak, and he is using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Richie, every now and then someone on iRacing will point out that there's a circuit that may be a bit overdue for a rescan. However, that finger very rarely gets pointed here. The bumpy nature of this course certainly is part of its character.
Yes, it is, and it's part of a classic track that runs all sorts of great races here. We are right in the smack middle of Florida. And this track has a total of 23 it's going to be 23 laps for this race, with 17 turns. It's 3.7 miles long. And it's a mixture of pavement and concrete, long straightaways, and it's very, very flat. So it's a good place for these cars to run. And why don't we hop on board for that GSRC lap down.
All right, we've got Johan Orlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Sebring. Coming down the front stretch, you can immediately see just how bumpy this track is. It'll continue through turn 1, and it's hair-raising every time you send it in there. Make sure not to understeer wide, but hold to the right to the track after you exit. Turn 3 comes up fast, but offers some chances for an overtake. Just be sure to stay off the inside curb. Then we weave through 4 and 5. It's incredibly important that you take a late apex out of 5 because it leads onto a long, flat-out stretch that ends in a very popular passing zone. Put in as little steering input as possible through Big Bend, then drift to the left. The heavy braking of the hairpin will make it easy to come in too hot, and sometimes you can just watch the driver pass and you sail on through to the escape road. But if you're side by side out of here, be aware of how the pavement snakes back and forth so that you don't take each other out. Now we scream through 8 and 9, where once again, you'll mostly be trying to straighten the track out. That dumps you into Cunningham, which can be pretty ideal for overtakes. The exit is what's tricky, since you've got to be gentle on the throttle. Lose it through Collier, and the barriers are right next to the track, ready to gobble you up. Then, do your best to line up the braking for Tower without tipping your wheels off to the left in the dirt. This inside curb is another one that I almost always try to stay off of for fear of losing the car. Finally, you've got a little bit of a breather, but it's important to get the proper line through Bishop's double apex and get your car over to the left. Keep the car settled under braking for Jean Debienne because you're taking a ton of speed through this right-left. Swing as wide as you can past the curb on the left and then give yourself a good launch out of Le Mans. It's a corner that's going to make or break your lap times because the Ullman Straight is the longest acceleration zone on the track. And though you can use the slipstream for passes, if you wind up too wide into Sunset Bend, all I gotta say is it's your funeral. It's a blind kink where you're braking on entry and then it's bumps, bumps, and more bumps. Hit one wrong and your day could be over in a flash. From off the corner, swing it as wide as you dare, and then hopefully you've now finished a lap around Sebring.
Well, that is a lap around Sebring. As we mentioned, the bumps play a huge role here. Definitely makes us stand out, a bit more unique, a completely different circuit than what we were at last week in Watkins Glen. I'll tell you what, let's have a look at how the points stand after last week's season opening round at Watkins Glen. Now, what you're going to see on the screen here, even though we're only one round through the season, this is not the finishing order from last week's broadcast. These are basically the iRacing official series points following the first week. And you see, though, it's still fairly close at the top of the standings, just 8 markers separating the top 2, but with 11 rounds still to go in the season, and all of the drivers having 4 drop weeks between now, you know, I mean, basically their four worst results at the end of the season will be dropped. That does mean these points will definitely get shaken up over the course of the next 11 races. Not only in the driver standings, but this is called the Classic Team Championship for a reason. There's also a team standings. And as we take a quick look here, you can see actually quite a bit narrower at the top of the standings there, Richie. Just 17 points separate in the top 5 teams, these teams being based off of the 1980 Formula One World Championship teams.
Yeah, that's what makes this series very unique, having this team championship with these old school Formula One teams. And like you said, they are very close, and they do get a couple drops as well for the team. So just like the Drivers' Championship, these will get mixed up quite a bit as we go.
Now, we mentioned this season goes on 12 weeks, but the rules each race are pretty much the same, Richie. Let's take a look at our racing series details.
Yeah, and we are on race 2 of 12 here. And like we said, driver gets 4 drops and the team gets 2. This race is 23 laps long, and setups are open. There's no reason to stop for fuel. These tires will last the distance as well. They do have their standard 17X incident cap, so anything more than that, and you'll get disqualified. And just like Samuel mentioned, they do use the official iRacing points for this series.
Well, you mentioned there, Richie, that the tyres on these Lotus 79 machines hold up quite well. However, they do tend to slide around a little bit as the run goes on, and that could be a big problem today, not only given the bumpy nature of this course, but also take a look here. Track temperature, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 40 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, it's baking down there in Florida sun there, and it will make a difference as you're watching online there. Yoni sliding that car around, and kind of makes this car fun to drive. They do have a lot of downforce from under the car with the underwings, so you kind of have to dirt track it a little bit to get them around, and we'll see. I don't ever see them really having a problem with those tires, but with this high temp, this might become an issue as we get closer to the end of this one.
Yeah, Joni Heikkinen is actually our provisional pole sitter. He just went fast there. 148.9. Oh, sorry, no, that was Dreno Friesch taking it from him. My apologies. Dreno Friesch actually just took it from him there on screen, but only by 0.03 of a second over Joni Heikkinen. And Heikkinen, not exactly a name we're familiar with here, except for the fact that it closely resembles former Finnish Formula One world champion Mika Häkkinen. And I'm looking at the driver's entry list, Richie. Boy, Finland is well represented throughout the field.
Yeah, they do love this car. They come out in force, and I think it works out for their time zone as well. But yeah, Gurno up front, he's our champion from the last season, and he's always a force. And once he gets up front, he is really hard to catch.
Let's take a look at the full starting lineup here as qualifying is ramping up. It will be Free starting on pole position, as we just mentioned, though only by a few hundredths of a second over Heikkinen. Starting in third place is Puhaka ahead of Tuminen. Antti Lepisto will be starting in fifth ahead of Ove Tradre. Alex Millward and Timo Toika are on row 4 ahead of Mark Pickford and Martin Granberg, rounding up the top 10.
Yeah, coming out on row 6 would be Ryan McCusker, and then Pablo Suarez will be on that row with him. Then we got Martin Arnoldis. Then we got Tommy Uhola, Stefan Baluka, and Matt Wood rounding out row 8. We got row 9. We got Matt Wood and Yuko Laskela. And then we got Keith Herner, Barry West, and Alessar Hay. And then David Azevedo didn't put in a time. He'll be putting that starting in the back there.
Yeah, he is in the session, and that could have actually very easily been he attempted to put on the time, but may have ran off on both of his laps in iRacing. If you put a wheel off doing your qualifying lap, the lap does not count. So, all of the drivers getting set up on the grid right now. For some of them, it will take a few moments because they've got to load their race set up following qualifying. And as we mentioned, it's going to be Prix and Heikkinen leading them down into that first turn. First turn here, very interesting, considering the sweeping nature of the corner. The pole sitter could be leading out of turn 1, but very easily the drive on starting second could be as well. Still waiting for Heikkinen and Puhaka. Drivers starting second and third. There they go. They finally joined. Boy, they were probably making a couple of tweaks to compensate for the hot temperatures here. But here we go. The lights are up. Prix on pole. And the lights off and away they go. Nice start from Prix and a great start from Puhaka there. Third on the grid. He's going to look down to the inside of Heikkinen into the first corner. Prix far ahead of him. And Heikkinen, despite starting second, he wasn't able to mount the challenge. Instead, he drops to third.
Yeah, great start. Everybody made it through turn 1. Coming up to this tight left-hander right here. Really good passing zone, but everybody's staying clean right now. And Gurno, once again, taking off. And like I said earlier, he's hard to catch if he gets out in front too far.
Man, almost a bit of a collision in the battle for third there, going into the second corner with Eero Tuominen and Antti Lepisto almost getting to the back of Heikkinen, but fortunately they all avoided contact. And as we mentioned, Richie, a clean start so far as the drivers have worked their way out of Big Bend. They've worked their way through the hairpin, and now they come into a very twisty infield here. And I know from personal experience racing on iRacing, if you haven't put in your practice laps, it's quite easy to get lost in the middle here.
It is, and it's hard to get those bumps just right. Hit some of these curbs you can hit, some you can't. Really easy to drop some wheels, but everybody's running pretty clean so far. Coming up to the back S's here, we're going to get on that main straightaway, and we'll see who's got the run and who set their wing up to maybe be fast in a straight line instead of fast in the corners.
Yeah, don't be surprised if we see some weaving. As a matter of fact, even with a 1 second lead, Prix was doing a bit of bobbing and weaving going down the straight to sunset here just to make sure that Puhaka couldn't gain his slipstream. Now, these drivers are very competitive because this is the top of 2 splits going on right now. 21 drivers in this split, 20 drivers in the bottom split. And a spin at the back here.
Yeah, Herner just lost it. Looks like on his own going into that last corner there and able to keep going. No harm, no foul.
Of course, the tires are a little bit cold right now, and oh wow, actually it might be
a little help here. I don't know who that is on the inside, but Herner just went in a little deep there and had to check up, keep from hitting the guy in front of him.
So close quarters racing on the opening lap. Herner a victim, but I've got to be honest, around here we've seen much bigger victims before. I believe it was this series last year. We had one car finishing the race upside down in his pit stall. Actually, it was someone else's pit stall. I don't think a crew appreciated that too much. Yeah, back here in 11th position, we're looking at Ryan McCusker. Now, the number 16 on his car victory, of course, with this being an official iRacing Series race, That means he comes into the race with the 16th highest I rating or ranking, if you will, of all of the drivers, but right now running in 11th, so doing a good job there. As the field comes around to complete the second lap, Prix, Buhaka, Häkkinen, the front three drivers, but you see, second place. Häkkinen's not letting Buhaka get away with this one. Buhaka got a great launch off of the starting grid. A bit ironic, I suppose, considering the fact that we were talking about the similarity of Häkkinen's name to Häkkinen, and Häkkinen was always known for his great starts in I guess I'll say an old Formula One car. 1998 car is old now. These, of course, the F1 cars that they raced back in '78, the revolutionary Lotus 79 with these ground effect aerodynamics that really allow these cars to have a lot of downforce and good handling and good power coming out of the turns, but at the same time doesn't disrupt the racing too much aerodynamically. A lot of nose to tail racing in the early stages here, all throughout the field. As a matter of fact, despite Herner going around on who went around on the first lap, the rest of the field all covered by 20 seconds, even 2 laps into this race, which is saying something considering the large size of this circuit. Currently, we're watching Ove Trantere try and run down Antti Lepisto here. Now, Antti Lepisto back at Watkins Glen 1 week ago when we were broadcasting the Classic Team Championship. He had a bit of an interesting race, battling up front there with Moreira and Prix. Moreira ended up being the victor, taking home the spoils from that particular race. Of course, that wasn't reflected in the points that you saw at the top of a broadcast, because that was a single split, so points were a little bit lower than normal. And all of a sudden, we've got a bit of a battle heating up for third. Tuominen has ran down Häkkinen, just a couple of tenths in it at the line, and as they start lap 4, nose to tail as they enter the first sector. We ride on board Tuominen right now. Whoa, a bit of a slide there from the driver of a number 2 machine. Is Tuominen going to be able to capitalise? He has a run through Big Bend. I think it would be a little bit ambitious to try and attempt something through turn number 6 right here. But, through turn 7. But coming up, not too far after this, is Cunningham. That's a right hand at the end of this windy straight. And sometimes we do see drivers attempt to make a pass through there, and sometimes those attempts work, sometimes they do not. So good battle for third and a good battle for fifth going on right now.
Yeah, this is a really tough section here. You just want to be a little patient, even though he's trying really hard to get by him. Right now, just kind of hang tight through these S's and really got to get that run coming on the back straightaway, but Euro's not being very patient. It looks like he wants to get by Yoni right now.
And here's one of the best places to try and make something happen. Unfortunately for Tuominen, he didn't get a very good run coming out onto this back straight. Likewise, at the battle for fifth, Ove Trantere not exactly within striking range of Lepisto, but that doesn't... and here's a battle a bit further back.
Trying to go around the outside here for this last corner. Here's another good passing spot. You get a good run. I believe that's Martin Granberg trying to pass Alex Millward. And Millward on Pickford, excuse me. Not going to get it done in turn 1. He's going a little bit wide, and these guys are all over the place trying to make these passes. It's kind of cool to see here. But like we talked about earlier with those tires, try too hard at the beginning, you might pay the consequences later on.
The last 2 straights here, Richie, I know these are Lotus 79 machines, so DRS wasn't even, even a thought in anyone's imagination all the way back then. But the last two straights here kind of work like a racetrack with two DRSs. Sometimes you might not necessarily be able to make a pass down the back straight, but you're able to use the draft off a car in front of you to pull right up to them going into sunset. As all contact here.
Yep, little contact there, trying to go on the inside. Seems like they're going to keep going, no damage. Here we come to the replay here for this. And he was being pretty aggressive that whole lap, and looks like his patience got a little thin. And right now, at the end of this section, he's going to just try to outbrake him, get a little slide in there, and a little love tap, no big deal.
Yeah, we've seen battles down in Cunningham go south there before. But what I was mentioning there just a moment ago, Richie, even though we have a couple of good overtaking zones in the infield, but as we go back, Mark Pickford and Alex Millward still nose to tail. So they just came off a back straight. Sometimes that acts like a first DRS zone, if you will, that it gets you set up just to try and use a draft on the front straight here and make a move into turn one, almost like a second DRS zone you get here. Of course, as we mentioned, these cars don't have DRS, but it's kind of the same effect when you have straights this long.
Yeah, they get a good draft on these cars. They punch a big hole, and this battle's going on pretty strong, and it looks like, you know, Mark's got a whole train of cars going on behind him, so Alex is wanting to get by him. And you know, I wanted to mention something. When he had that little contact, looks like Alex was being the gentleman driver. He lifted and let Mark get back in front of him instead of taking advantage of that bump he made to him.
You know, I wonder if we can go back up to Heikkinen running in third position, because just got a note here that there might be some damage to his rear wing, and I wonder if he's actually been carrying that all race long, because the only time I can remember him being exceptionally close to another vehicle, and there you see it, was heading into turn two on the opening lap when Tuaminen and Lepisto were right on these back there. I wonder if there was contact, that he's been struggling with damage since all race long.
Yeah, that could really hurt his straight line speed, and maybe that's why he's fallen back a little bit from Puhaka. And but he's holding tight there. He's got a little bit of a gap to Euro, just kind of doing his own thing. Then a big gap to Ante Lepisto. It's almost 3.7 seconds. So Ante's kind of running on his own there. He's trying to hold off Ove Trengerade, and got a little battle there for that spot there for 5th and 6th.
Yeah. Yeah, then you just saw the purple at the top of your screen as fastest laps get in reset as these cars get up to temperature. The fuel burns off a little bit, the intensity at the front of the field. I mean, even our top two drivers only 1 second apart. Before that heats up too much, though, I do want to give a shout out to our driver just running the 7th. We've had a lot of battles in the top 10 early on, but currently just running on his own in 7th place is Timo Toika, doing a good job so far.
Yeah, I'm watching this battle. You just saw it go by on your screen there between Ante Lepisto and Ove Trengerade. They're working pretty hard on each other here, and you know, Ove's been poking his nose out. And we'll see if he's going to make a move here. Not quite close enough, but, you know, I think he's going to make a shot at him coming down the backstretch here. And going back to Mark Pickford and Alex Millward, they're still battling it out. Not much has changed as well. You know, kind of holding steady here. I think it's going to see this kind of steady out for a little bit, and then as we get closer to the end, we'll see who saved their tires a little bit best, I think.
Prix is starting to weave as they go down the back straight. Our race leader, he's keeping a close eye on that interval, knows that Puhaka can get a run on him if he's not careful.
And we're watching Millward going to make a move going into Sunset Bend here. I believe that's the name of that corner, the last corner, and he's got the inside line, and looks like a good clean pass there. We'll see if he's got the pace to pull away, because he's been all over mark for a while.
Well, I don't think Pickford's done with this. He's going to try and do a crossover and go down the inside on turn 1. This isn't guaranteed, though. You can try and carry that momentum on the high side, but Millwood unable to do that, and Pickford gets the position back.
You're not able to make use of that double DRS zone the way you like to put it there. Yeah, this is a good battle on track. And we've got also Martin Grandberg and Ryan McCusker behind them, waiting to pick up the pieces if these guys hit each other.
And Millwood really closed in on the braking zone there. He could try and make something happen into Cunningham. I think he's thinking exactly that. You see how he's trying to get tucked up behind Pickford here. And let's see, hopefully it's not a replay of earlier. No, it's not. Pickford holds on.
Pickford made him go the long way around. He saw that coming, but it's also given Alex a good run. Oh, whoa.
And that's what we did not want to see. Yeah, Millwood loses 2 positions, but even though Pickford able to hold on to the position, how much damage did the 13 car pick up from that?
Not sure if he actually hit him, but he got up on the curb and got kind of bottomed out, it looks like, and he's going to keep going, but he did lose those 2 spots to Martin and Ryan.
Yeah, good evasive maneuver there. I mean, I know it cost him 2 positions, but could have been a lot worse. In front of us, I mentioned how Timo Toika had been having a calm race in 7th. He's actually running down the battle for 5th a little bit.
Yeah, he's closing up on Ove. Ove was, for a while, we were watching that battle with him and Antilopisto, but Ove's been dropping off a little bit. His last time was, in the 151s there, whereas Timo is in the 150s, high 150s. So I don't know if he's cooked his tires a little bit, just struggling, but definitely Timo is going to start putting the heat on Ove, I think, in a few laps.
You've seen, you can see the race order scroll across at the top of your screen. Haven't been watching the drivers running 11th on back a whole lot today. Honestly, they're a bit spread out right now. Still, though, the whole field covered about 45 seconds as we approach halfway point. Lap traffic won't play a huge role here just because of the size of the track. As I mentioned, 11th place, though, that actually is getting interesting right now. With Millwood trying to rebound, he's right on the back of a 16 car. Ryan McCusker in 10th.
I'm also watching a good battle here with Barry West. He's battling with Martin Arnoldus, and they've been getting pretty close to each other. So some battles going on in the back, so we'll cover that when we can.
Yeah, Barry West's race not going as well as his season opener at Watkins Glen could have gone. We saw him running in the top 10 there this time last week. As we rejoin this battle up towards the front, well, mid-pack.
Yeah, Alex is not being very patient trying to get his spots back. He's almost punted Ryan out of the way there.
Well, it worked. He got the toe as best he could, then made the move late into turn 1, and Ryan McCusker actually sliding a bit through the corner there. I wondered if he's getting used to the dirty air, now having the car right in front of him.
Yeah, looks like Alex is a little flustered from his mistake early on, and he's driving the wheels off that thing to get back the spots he lost. So he's got one back, and next up is Martin. Grandberg is in his sights, and we'll see if he can close that gap. He's pulled away from Ryan pretty quickly.
This battle for third hasn't really gone away. Heikkinen, as we mentioned, we think he's carrying a little bit of damage. Tuominen running in 4th position behind him, right where he started. to be honest, a lot of the drivers pretty much where they started throughout the field. Our biggest move is only up 3 spots, and that's the driver we were talking about a moment ago, Barry West.
Yeah, which I'm surprised a little bit because there's a lot of opportunities to pass, as we see one on screen right now.
Battle for 6th place, Trantere on the inside, and we mentioned Timo Troika had a quiet start to the race. He's starting to get a bit dicey now as we approach the halfway point. He wants 6th position for that number 12 car.
Looking on the inside turn 1 here, and like we said earlier, Ove's been kind of just falling back a little bit, and Timo made that pass look pretty easy on him.
Next target for Timo will be Antti Lepisto. Bit surprising to see Lepisto back in 4th. I mean, but it's not that the top 4 in front of him are any slouches. I guess all the big names came out here today.
Yeah, we are running the top split here, so these are all the big dogs running this championship, second race of this championship here.
Man, that battle for 3rd, the nose to tail. And Tuominen has been behind Heikkinen all race long. I think this is the closest he's gotten to him, though.
And Alex Miller has made up that distance up to Martin Granberg, and he's trying pretty hard right now to get that spot back from him. And he's definitely a man on a mission.
Yeah, because not soon after that, he'll be right back on Pickford's rear wing.
And Alex does have a slight little bit of damage on his left front wing. I don't know if it's hurting him much, but he's definitely hasn't been afraid to drive his nose right underneath these guys' gearbox. So we'll see if he can make a move coming down the straightaway. It's right in his draft. Coming up to the braking zone. I don't think he's close enough to make it this time.
Oh, well, we really threw it in there, though. He could just be setting up perhaps for a pass into the first corner. That's where we got McCusker a few laps ago. He definitely has a slipstream of Granberg right now, but once again, I think a little bit too far back. Meanwhile, Tuominen is off course from 4th place. He doesn't lose any positions, but he did lose a lot of time.
Yeah, and he has some damage on his car as well on the front wing.
Well, we mentioned this was as close, Richie, as I had seen him to Heikkinen. I wonder if that could have aerodynamically affected these cars through this corner.
Yeah, he got on the curb and spun the tires, and I'm listening to him drive too. He's cooked those rear tires, so he's struggling with power out of some of these sharper bends. He's sliding the car all over the place, and this is probably going to give Antti Lepisto a sniff of that position. Now we got Buhaka's right up behind Gurno, and it's going to be a good battle to the end. You know, they're running pretty close lap times, but now he's probably in the draft, and if he stays clean, he's going to get a good shot, I think, going into turn 1 maybe.
Yeah, you saw Dreno was weaving left to right down that back straight, trying to break the slipstream. Wouldn't be surprised if he does the same again here.
Yeah, these guys are working pretty hard out here. We're only lap 12 of 23, so we're barely halfway. So it should get pretty exciting coming to the end.
Yeah, those 11 laps, I have a feeling they're going to go by really quickly for whoever's in second. For whoever's leading the race, they'll seem to go on for a while. Right now, Fischer's been leading all race long. Yeah, let's go back to battle for 9th, because as they come into turn 1, Millwood is right behind Granberg. He's been right behind him for about a full lap now, though, Richie, and he hasn't found a way by yet.
No, he hasn't found a way by, and what he's done as well is he's brought Ryan back to the game. So we have a 3-way battle here for 8th spot, looks like.
Sure. Well, 4-way in a way. I mean, Pickford's not too far ahead of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They have chased him down, and there we go. Alex going deep into the hairpin there, almost running into the back of Martin there. He's still trying as hard as he can to get back. He wants that spot bad.
Oh, I'm not even sure Millwood wants a spot from Granberg too much. I think he just wants to get by Granberg because he wants a spot from Pickford. Or at least he wants to give Pickford another fight. We'll see if he's more aggressive.
I absolutely believe you're right.
Well, we won't get to see how aggressive he can be if he can't get by Granberg, though. It looks like Millwood's really being cautious about trying to make a clean pass.
Well, he's had some pretty close calls with these guys under braking, so we'll see. He's right on his tail here, coming onto the back straightaway.
He's got to run, and he's going to try. Well, he sticks his nose down the inside in Granberg, trying to make momentum his friend on the outside line. Granberg has the inside now. He's actually going to have a bit more speed than Millwood. Is Millwood going to try and cross over, try and throw it down the inside here? Thought about it, but wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, that's tough to do on that inside line on that last corner because there's a huge bump there. So, that was pretty good driving from both of them from not hitting each other. But definitely Alex, he is a man on a mission. And I hope it doesn't end in tears here because he's trying pretty hard on every corner.
Well, Millwood is certainly a name we're used to seeing around in the series, usually running up. Oh, as he got very close to Granberg, it's going to cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, he's really aggressive on the brakes, so I think that's what caught him out earlier is Mark broke a little earlier than he did, and he got up on the curb, and that's how he lost those spots. So I think he needs to maybe roll through that corner a little bit more and get the run off the corner.
Yeah, you see that accordion also affected Ryan McCusker pretty badly. He drops back a little bit of this P8, 9, and 10 battle.
Yeah, he's...
So Tuominen, who had that off a couple of laps ago while behind Häkkinen, he hasn't really been able to regain any of that time. Just to give you an update on what's going on up front, still about half a second between Jerno Frisch and Osayan Puhaka, with less than 9 laps left to go for our leaders now.
Yeah, I think Euro's just paying the price for a little bit of damage on his front wing, and he's hanging tight there. He still has a good, looks like 2-second gap to Ante Lepisto, so if he can settle down a little bit, he should be able to get his lap times back down to where they were.
The battle for 8th is on. Pickford having to defend the challenge by Granberg. So Granberg going to go around the outside, or going to try to. Oh, they're getting very close here. This isn't exactly a desired overtaking opportunity. And Pickford, and around goes Granberg. And that is how Millwood gets back by.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, he just got up on the curb, and there's no traction control with these cars. So you get up on there and spin the tires, and then Ryan just hanging back, getting his spots as they come to him. And this is quite a battle going into this section. Like you said, Sam, it's not a designated passing zone. So, we got Alex in the inside and just kind of forces him out. And, the way he goes, lucky he didn't catch Alex when he went by him or he spun out.
And we now return to GSRC's regularly scheduled programming of the Pickford and Granberg show. Currently with Pickford in 8th and, the Pickford and Millwood show. Boy, I tried to do something creative and I buggered it up. Talking about buggering it up, Millwood did that a couple of turns ago and Pickford runs away a little bit again.
Now we're basically back to where we started before Alex went off, so he's got Pickford back in his sights, and Ryan's hanging back there watching this show. And Alex is still trying really hard. I saw him almost lose it once again under power, and here he goes. Going to try again here. Not quite close enough. He might get the run here going into turn 1, though.
He does have a nice run, but I don't think he's close enough. But you mentioned Richie, he's been hard on the brakes and he's been unable to get as good a runs out of the corners, and that might need to be something he's got to adjust in the last 7.5 laps here if he does want to get 8th, because he's certainly shown to us over the course of the last 5 or 10 laps. I think Millwood is faster. He does have a pace advantage over Pickford. Problem, Pickford has a position.
Yeah, Pickford's just driving pretty steady lines, not making any mistakes, and Alex has been all over the place. But here we come down to this next section, and I have a feeling we're going to see Alex take a shot at Mark before the next couple of laps are over.
Another battle getting very close is the battle for the lead, because these drivers starting to run out of laps. Only 7 to go when they come across the line this time. Prix has been leading this race all race long. However, he definitely has not been dominating it. Puhaka has never had him out of his sights.
I was watching this a little bit earlier, and Osan pulled back a little bit. I don't know if he was cooling his tires, and now he's making another charge. And his last lap was a good 0.2 faster than Gurno. So once again, this battle rages on with only 7 laps to go.
Prix racing for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Behind him we have Puhaka. He is racing for the... I got that admit, I don't have it in my notes right there.
Boy, Puhaka, is right behind him, and he's being pretty clean about his attempts. So I think he's just sizing them up. I mean, Gurno he's always been hard to get by. Watching last season's races, so this is going to be a classic battle, I think, right to the very end.
Millwood was able to get by Pickford. Oh, how did he do that?
He's got that red mist clear now. See if he can pull away. We knew he's probably a little bit faster than Mark, so I think if he can just run some clean laps, he should be able to kind of get a little bit of a gap and run his pace.
It was at the end of lap 16. Millwood just got a better run going down the back straight and completed a textbook pass heading into sunset. Try and get a replay of it for you viewers. We know we've been following this battle all race long, so there's a conclusion of it, or at least a conclusion for now. Let's see if Millwood is able to pull away. So far he has been. In fact, Pickford's, when we go back to live action here, Pickford is now soon going to have to worry about Ryan McCusker right behind him.
Going back to the battle up front, Puhaka's all over Gurno, and I'm watching Gurno drive, and he's sliding that car all over the place, so he's definitely feeling the heat from Osan. Right up under his gearbox there into the hairpin. Coming up to another decent passing zone, but doesn't look like he has a good enough run for this time. I really like the way he goes. Oh, go ahead.
Meanwhile, at the complete other end of the field, Alistair Hay was just putting on a bit of a stunt show of car control proportions for the fans here at Sebring International Raceway. He did about 3 saves and 1 straight. Yeah, gets wide there.
Just a tiny take slapper.
It's not what I saw. Maybe he had another bit of a moment right after that.
Just checking to make sure the steering's working.
Yeah, no, that was dramatic, whatever way you look at it. Unfortunately, there has been, knock on wood, 5 laps to go, there's been absolutely no attrition this race, so Hay is back there in last place right now. despite just keeping it clean and logging laps.
We got
But
another great battle with Ante Lepisto and Timo Toika. Toika's caught up to Ante, and he almost made a move on him right there in the screen coming into turn one. You know, Toimo's made up that distance on him, and he's hungry for that top 5.
yeah, here's that but. We haven't had any attrition so far, but there's only 4 laps left to go and quite a few scores to be settled.
Got some good 2-car battles up front with Gurno and Osam Puhaka, and then also here with Ante Lepisto and Timo. And coming down to the wire, we got 5 laps to go. His tires are starting to wear out. You can see these guys sliding around a little bit, and we'll see who saved a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, only 3 drivers in the field have gained 3 positions today. They're Tommy Unhola, who started 14th, has got up to 11th. Matt Wood, certainly not the race we're used to seeing from him. He started in 16th, is up to 13th. And Barry West, we mentioned him earlier, starting 19th, he's up to 16th. Other than that, calm races for quite a few drivers through the field, but it is not calm up front right now. Fish has Pahaka right on his rear wing, and I've got to imagine the fact that we're not seeing Pahaka just eat him up right here, Richie, means that Fish is running a lot less wind.
Yeah, he's definitely set up for the straightaways. That's maybe why he's sliding around a lot. But we're coming down to the wire, and I don't think we've seen the best from Osan yet. I think he's been saving something. Meanwhile, as well, the battle rages with Ante Lepisto and Timo. Timo's all over him like a cheap suit here. And I think he's going to take a shot at him maybe going into turn 1 because he is right underneath him. And here he goes. Going to pull out.
Down the inside into the first corner. Nicely done.
That was a great move. He hung that inside line. It's really easy to catch that inside wall if you turn in a little early, but nice and clean. And, you know, he's chased down Ante pretty quickly, so he should be able to pull away, I think.
So Timo Toika joins the club of drivers who've made up 3 positions this race. There's only 4 of them, but I'm sure he'll enjoy that small club there. And now I've got to wonder, as we return our focus to this battle for the lead, Richie, the fact that Puhaka does seem to be carrying a bit more win, or maybe sandbagging a bit on the straights just to confuse us commentators, that means he's got to try and find a way by Frisch in the infield.
Yeah, it's gonna. If he's carrying more wing, he's got to think about his passing zones coming into the back section. The S is not where he's at right now. He's pretty close, but you can tell he doesn't get anything from the draft. So I think you're right there, Samuel, that I think Gurno maybe has set up a little bit more for the straight line speed instead of the corners.
And 3 laps left to go. There's multiple different lines through Sunset. Pahaka will try and get one that gets him a nice run down the straight just so he can keep up with Frisch. So then they come into turn 1 here. We don't expect Parker to be able to make anything from that far back. This sequence of turns they approach here, that these definitely are not passing opportunities. We saw someone try that earlier and it backfired on them. Where the passing opportunities start is when they come out a big bend here. They have a nice passing opportunity into turn 7, the hairpin, and then one right after that in Cunningham.
Yeah, I think for Osan, if he's running more wing, right, he's just got to hang tight, get underneath them for the braking, and then this next section coming up after this straightaway, I think is going to be his prime spot to kind of force a move in on him somewhere in these S's coming up.
And one thing that could play a role, they will have one laps car to deal with before the end of it. So I think that's going to be it. And that's Alistair Hay, who had that tank slapper moment earlier. He's only a few seconds up the road on them. So we'll wait and see if that plays a role in determining the outcome. Hopefully not.
You can really see how Osan is really putting the pressure on him. He's seeing the laps count down, and I think this area in general is going to be where he's going to have to make his move. And But I think he's going to have to really just kind of force it in there, and maybe a little contact. I don't know. We'll see.
Look at that
coming up. Here he Yep.
Yeah, Hay pulled over. He slowed right down to the right side of the circuit, put his hand out the driver's cockpit area there, said hey to the leaders, and but Frisch said, hey, I'm not just going to blow by you. I'm going to try and pick up a slipstream off you while you're there. But boy, Puhaka, if he is slowed down the straights, he doesn't know it because he was trying to make something happen.
Yeah, he's definitely seeing it's 2 laps to go. Really wants to make a move. Made a little mistake there, dropped some wheels. But when we come into these sections where it's going left and right, I think this is where he gains that speed. And I don't know. I keep saying he's going to make a move, but I don't know if he's going to be close enough.
Of course, he could just be trying to get into Jarno Frisch's head, but Frisch is no new driver to this car. So it's going to take a lot to throw him off, I'm sure. But boy, they're both feeling the pressure right now with just 1.5 laps left to go.
This is our best battle on the track as well. And, it's good that it's for the lead. We got about 1.5 laps to go. And I've kind of seen Gurno, he's kind of settled down. He's not overdriving the car going in, getting the good runs off. So he knows how to play this game with Osam behind him.
Once again, they work their way through the S's. They'll come to the right-hand, that's called Le Mans. That's the one that kicks them out onto the main straight. Puhaka closes in on the entry, but that's not where you want to make your pass. Frisch, once again, trying to weave.
Yeah, you can't get into his head there very well. He's the champion from the last season, and if you're gonna get by him, you definitely earn that pass.
Final lap about to start. Jarno Frisch has led a guaranteed 22 laps out of his 23-lap race. Can he seal the deal? He'll be looking for the Grand Slam because he also has the fastest lap of the race right now, which I doubt will be beat because these two drivers aren't worried about fastest lap right now. They're just worried about beating each other. And now as they come out of this left-hander and approach Big Bend is where the passing opportunities start. Puhaka's got a nice run here. Is he going to throw it into the hairpin?
He's making it tight. Oh, here he comes.
He's on the inside. He turns him. And Puhaka takes a spot. Frisch recovers, but not in the lead.
Yeah, that was a little more aggressive. Oh, he's going to let him by. I'm watching after the replay. Watch the replay, but some good sportsmanship came by from this. But as we look at the replay, he just drove it in. I mean, this is his move, and unfortunately, a little contact.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen this out of these drivers before. Now we'll just let you know here that that they swapped back the positions. Puhaka pulled over and let Frisch back by because the battle's still not over. Puhaka still wants to win this race. He just wants to do it cleanly, and there's only a couple of turns left for him to try and do that. And then he's down the inside again.
Wow, you don't get any closer than that. And this is going to be his last shot. I don't think he's going to have a chance, though. He was so close coming on that last straightaway that he's kind of lost his run.
He tried everything he could, but he wanted to do it clean. Puhaka not able to seal the deal. Jarno Frisch wins here at Sebring. Puhaka in second place, and Häkkinen, despite dropping off from them about 8 seconds, will round out the third spot on the podium.
Yeah, that was a great race. Good sportsmanship, too. I know these guys race against each other a lot, so I would have done the same. I would have felt bad to win that way.
Lepisto, running 6th place, was determined to try and get Toika back for 5th. He actually ran it in the grass on the exit of Sunset there on the final lap. 9th place, Pickford has been holding off McCusker ever since we left this battle. He's going to hold on to that 9th place.
Some really good battles going on out there. And some good clean racing. I mean, they had some contact, but they also, know to let each other by if it wasn't fair.
And these drivers will be here to talk to us about that, and we'll be back with a full race rundown here on the GSRC in just a few moments. Hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned, more to come. Hello and welcome back to Sebring International Raceway, where we just witnessed 23 laps of fairly clean race in action. I would say the only incident we really saw took place for the lead on the final lap, and as at the end of the day, it didn't really change the order up at all. In fact, let's take a look at that order. It was Drano Fish winning the race by just 0.2 of a second over Puhaka. On the third step off a podium was Häkkinen. And then Tuominen finished fourth, exactly where he started. And boy, one of the drivers of the race there, going from 8th to 5th in the number 12 car, Timo Toika. Good day for him, getting the top 5 position. Antti Lepisto was back in 6th place. Not a great day for him, ahead of Ove Trantere. Alex Millward, he had a very interesting race out there today in 8th. and he came home across the line ahead of a battle between Mark Pickford and Ryan McCusker.
Yeah, coming home 11th was Tommy Unhola, made up 3 spots, coming from 14th up to 11th. Right behind him is Pablo Suarez, who finished where he started in 12th. Matt Wood made up 3 spots as well. Didn't qualify probably what he thought he would, but he finished 13th, starting 16th. Martin Granberg, unfortunately, was probably one of the ones that lost the most spots out there. Ended up basically in the 14th spot, coming from 10th. Stefan Baluka finished 15th. Barry West 16th. He also made up 3 spots. And then we got Martin Arnoldos. He came home 17th, starting at 13th spot. Yuko Leska 18th. David Azevedo, who we saw have quite a moment out there, sawing at that wheel, saving the car in 19th. And Keith Herner and Alistair Hay also had a big moment out there we caught.
Yeah, so normally we say that final page was drivers who didn't have a great race. Well, even though Hay didn't end up having a great race at the end, a couple laps down, it's, all of those drivers gave it everything they had. It just so happened that everything Frisch had was a little bit faster than everyone else at the end. And let's talk to our race winner. Jono, congratulations on the win out there. I know you led about 22.9 of 23 laps today.
Sounds great. Thanks, Samuel. That was a really tough race. I already knew it beforehand in the warm-up when I saw that Finvation coming up. And there were many strong drivers in this one.
Yeah, there were. Now, Pahaka was never too far behind you, though. I mean, I know really he started putting the pressure on in the last 5 laps. Did you have a feeling in the middle of the race that he was saving something for the end there?
To be honest, I was, because I saw him getting faster lap by lap. So in the very beginning, I seemed to be in control, but just for a couple of laps. And after 10 laps, he was pushing so hard and was really crazy fast. And in the end, things got really close. And yeah, I have to say thank you to Ossian as well for nice fair play in the end when we had the little touch. I think, good sign for the great racing spirit in this series.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some great battles for the win up front in the opening 2 rounds of the season with you, Marira, and Lepisto over at Watkins Glen, and then, of course, with you and Pahaka today. So it is shaping up to be a very interesting championship, which will continue 1 week's time when we go to Virginia International Raceway.
Oh, it's Virginia next time. It's one of my favorite tracks, so it should be a great race as well.
All right, well, we look forward to it too. Congratulations on the win today, Jeannot, and we look forward to seeing more great racing from you late in the season.
Thanks, guys. Congrats to Ossian and Joni as well. See you. Bye-bye.
And that was our race winner, Jeannot Frisch. Could have very easily been Ossian, but it didn't look like he wanted to win the race that way. Richie, you're going to ask him.
Osan, awesome job out there. You really made it exciting for us in the booth. And, obviously a little contact. We knew you had to go for it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I had that one scouted, and thank you. I had it scouted from early in the get-go because I saw that I had far more wing than Cherno. I could never really catch him up on the straights, even when I was really close, so that was frustrating. But I had scouted a couple of places for myself where I could go for it in the last laps, throw a Ricciardo in there. Lick the stamp and send it, as you say it, I think. And, well, that was one of the places, and I miscalculated it. I was closer than I ever had been, but Cherno braked later than I anticipated. I didn't think he could brake later, to be honest, but he managed to brake a little bit later. I was alongside a little bit too late. I knew immediately when I saw him turn in, I was like, okay, yeah, I was way too late on that one, and saw him like in my mirrors go a little bit sideways. And I knew that if he had a car that could, go across the finish line, if he didn't have too much damage, I'm giving it back. And as soon as I saw him getting closer, I just gave it back because that was Not clean racing, and it's something some other drivers may do. Not in this series, but some other drivers may just go for it last lap and screw the contact. But I'm not one of those guys. I'd rather drive the car nose first into the wall at 200 kph and take a win like that.
Yeah, it was great sportsmanship, and we know you guys raced each other quite a bit. And we did talk about that. We figured that he had a little less wing than you did because you were quite a bit faster. Yeah, right. And you were always there right behind him, and you just couldn't make the move. And we weren't sure where you're going to do it. But, to be honest, it looked like he turned down maybe a little bit on you, too. I think it was closer to just a racing incident than
No, it was my fault. Because I wasn't alongside coming into the braking zone. I was alongside right when you enter the braking zone when you take a wide line anyway, so it was 100% my fault.
Nah, it was great to see that you pulled over and let him by, and that goes for goodwill later on, right? So it's called karma.
I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in anything else but myself. But thank you.
You're welcome, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. You guys always put on a great show. So once again, great job on that second place, and maybe you'll get one better on the next race.
Thank you, and thanks to all the Finns who showed up too. We had a little bit of invasion. It's Juhannus Midsummer, summer solstice in Finland, which is a big celebration, obviously. So everyone was hungover pretty much today. But thanks for the guys who showed up, and thanks to you guys too for the broadcast.
Yeah, apparently. Yep, go ahead, Samuel.
Yeah, so apparently Finns get hung over. Never would have known that by looking at Kimi Räikkönen. All right, we got a couple more drivers a bit further down the order to talk to, but they had decent races. Let's get Tommy and Holo in here. Tommy, you started 14th and finished 11th. That actually makes you one of the biggest movers in the field throughout the race. Was it hard to pass out there today?
Yes, it was very hard to pass there, and yes, it was not easy at all. I lost a couple of places in start and was very stuck there for a while, and so could not make much more of it, but overtook two cars, so it was good race as it. I think it was my first race here in iRacing, and I have not driven this track so much. It's not one of my favorites, so it was not bad race from me.
Yeah, this track is very tricky out there, even in a sports car, some kind of GT car, just because of how bumpy it is. How much out there were you racing yourself, the racetrack, and how much did you actually have to worry about racing the other drivers?
No, it was probably about 50-50 on that, as track is really hard, and with those bumps especially, it took first days to learn where the bumps are, and track is not so easy to learn. I gained about 7 seconds or more during the week, and practice was limited as there was this summer thing, and it's big thing in Finland, so you spend time outside and not practicing. So I lost a couple of days there, and it was really hard this week. So I'm pretty happy with that. I wanted top 10, but it was good this way too. I also got a couple good battles there. I forgot with who, but good side by sides and good racing.
Yeah, well, congratulations on moving up those positions, and we look forward to seeing you at Virginia International Raceway next weekend.
Yeah, see you there. Thank you.
One more driver left to talk to, likewise made up 3 positions during the race. Richie, you called up with Barry West.
And Barry, I'm sure you wanted a little bit more than 16th spot, but you did start 19th, made up 3 spots. Qualifying was a little bit tough, and it looked tough to pass people out there. Kind of let us know how your race went there.
Yeah, I did expect better than that. I messed up the first qualifying lap, so then I just had to make sure I got a banker, but I should have just gone for it rather than just being certain, I got a time. Because I started 2 from the back anyway. But yeah, the standard of driving in this field was excellent. I must admit, I had some good battle early on with Keith. Unfortunately, went wide in the last bend, and that gave me one place. And then Jurko and that was a close. He kept coming up to the back, and I had to defend a couple of times, and then managed. He must have made a small error, made about 4 seconds, which gave him a bit of a break to concentrate on Stefan in front of me. And then for the rest of the race, it was just try and keep your head down and try and catch Stefan. But I think we were just trading lap times. We must have been so similar lap times, within 2 seconds of each other all through the rest of the race. So yeah, I mean, it's a good result considering where I started, but pity about last week as well. But one of those things. But yeah, top 10 hopefully next week.
Well, we do get 4 drops, so it looked like I thought there would be more passing going on, but I think did the temperature of the track? It was pretty hot out there. Did that have a play into basically who had less wing and who had more wing, and kind of make it tough to get close to anybody? It was
quite slippy, and there didn't seem to be much rubber laid down. I kept missing turn 1 a few times, but you couldn't quite see the line as the race went on. But I don't know. It was a bit warmer. I mean, it's about the same temperature as I've done 3 other races this week, and they've all been podiums. And it just seemed to be so much slower on this one. I don't know. What was the temperature? It was 103, was it?
Yeah, 104. I think track temps came up.
Yeah.
So, but it looked like everybody was sliding around a little bit. But either way, I mean, you made up 3 spots, and we have you're going to be at the next race at VIR.
I hope to. Yeah, me and my teammate Mark Pickford, who did a good result today. Hopefully, our team can get in the top 5 this year. Yeah, that'd be a good track. That always gives good racing, and there's always a compromise there, isn't it, between downforce and no downforce, and so it's depends which way cars go. But yeah, it can be tricky, but I'm sure the rest of the guys will be able to handle it all right. Hopefully, the temperatures will be a bit cooler than here as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and like you said earlier, the level of drivers in this is exceptional. So, well, congratulations. I know you probably wanted a little bit more, but you did make up those spots, and we'll see you next week.
Great. Thanks, Richie. Cheers.
All right, so that was our 16th place finisher today, Barry West, in the 21 car field. And I'll tell you what, Richie, I've covered a few of these races here, the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship. Not all of them have been the cleanest affairs in the world, but the opening 2 rounds to this season, we've seen some great racing up front and a lot of courteous driving between some of the top competitors, shaping up to be a good season.
Yeah, almost surprisingly how courteous everybody's been. So we'll see if that changes as we get closer to the end. But it does make for some good racing for us to call, and definitely looking forward to see how these guys get on at VIR, because that's a wonderful track.
All right, well, we will be back there to cover that race this time next week. Before then, we've got some people we'd like to thank, including the organisers and the competitors from the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship for choosing GSRC and putting on another great show. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. There you can see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Eric Coleman and Casey Lalonde to provide us with our music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Richard, Joe and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you at the track.